Welcome to the Human Being Store, and thanks for joining us for our podcast, Human Being 101, where we explore what it means to be both human and being in the world. I'm Maria Pritchard, Director of Guidance and Operations.
And I'm Kathleen Schaefer. I am the founder and CEO.
And today we're here to have a conversation that's really important in both life and work, because it's really about the integration of the two, and that is alignment of purpose.
Right. Well, when you think about the model that we've been talking about, the leadership connection model, we begin with the understanding of our gift and knowing our authentic self and what we want to contribute. And there's a lot of focus in the world about figuring out your purpose and who you are and all of that. And I think if you've listened to our previous episodes, you know that we approach that a little bit differently. This step of the model, the alignment of purpose, to me is where many people fall off, which is, are we really walking our talk? Are we in our life, in the way that we are leading, an expression of our gift? Or is there a disconnect between how we're conducting ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and who we believe ourselves to be and who we truly are?
Yeah, I think this is a step that people tend to try to skip over and justify through, it's one of those, the ends justify the means arguments. And for us as a company, I think this step has been really crucial because we've really applied it to the way that we build this organization. And we have really decided that we need to walk our talk and we need to be practicing everything that we preach, using this model in every choice that we make, in the way that we work together, in the way that we practice it ourselves.
Yes, and part of it is that once you make the commitment to living the leadership choice, to living in your gift, and you become mindful and explicit about wanting to be at your best in all of these areas, the people around you can reflect back when you're not. And to your point, here on the team and the work that we're doing, we're able to say to someone, I think you're a little tired. I think you need to take a break. Or you have been working, hard on something like this. Why don't you, go give yourself a break, or go study this, or go work on this. I mean, these are all facets of how we continue to nourish ourselves so that we're then able to go out and lead in the world. And really at the core of what you're discussing, or what you're pointing at here, is most people don't take care of themselves, and they feel like they need to go take care of everybody else's needs. The problem is that only place that leads to is burnout.
Yeah, and that actually reminds me, you've definitely told me that a few times, that I needed to take a break.
Yeah, so says the woman who's been on vacation about 4 times in the last couple months,
I
right?
do like to take a lot of vacation.
And that's good because you didn't do that before.
Yes, and and the other thing that I used to do, which, the specific story that I remember you and I had a meeting set up, and there were several things that we needed to discuss about the business. And this was a little less than a year ago. So we were, just starting to take off and have a lot going on. And we sat down to the meeting, and I was exhausted, and you could see it as soon as you sat in front of me on Zoom, as we do. And within the first couple of minutes, I basically fell apart, and we had a brief conversation, and you essentially told me to go take a nap. And the interesting precursor to this is that, in coming to the Human Being Store and living this more entrepreneurial path, have made a conscious decision about, wanting to be on this entrepreneurial path and creating my own time. And the irony of that is that I wanted to have the freedom to have the kind of balanced life that I like to have, which includes things like yoga and meditation and going for a walk in the middle of the day. And yet I had created a system of my own creation that held me stuck, and I didn't have time to take care of myself. And this particular meeting, I remember I had been on a trip with my fiance who was performing at a music festival, which is a very draining experience. And while we were there, my grandfather passed away. And then we came home for a couple of days and then flew out for the funeral and then came back. And then I tried to do this meeting like right after the flight. And you just asked me, why did you think that you needed to do this? And that was such a powerful moment for me and a powerful question, because it really unlocked what you just described, which was that, you know, I really felt I was carrying forward this old story that unless I was the hardest working, showing up, never taking a break, that I didn't have any worth and value. And you really brought me into this step of the model and showing me that this isn't that kind of workplace, and that actually if I live in that old system, I'm not at my best and I really don't have anything to offer in that moment.
Right. Yeah, I remember that meeting well. And you know, the interesting thing from my experience as the quote unquote leader in this organization is that not only was it tough for me to see you be as exhausted as you were, it was clear why you were as exhausted as you were. It's also in honoring my time,
Right.
and what I have to offer, and that you weren't able to show up and match me in that moment. So, I mean, this is so important for people to understand, is that not only were you not taking care of you, you were actually not doing the very thing that you said you wanted to do, which is to show up and honor my time and honor the work that we had to do. And people do this all the time.
And that I'm so grateful that you made that point, because yes, people self-sacrifice every day and they believe that it is in service of the organization or their family or whatever. But really, you are creating harm both to yourself and to whatever it is you're wanting to contribute to. And that we just can't, you know, overextending ourselves isn't going to yield the desired results. We need to take care of ourselves before we can really offer impact.
Right, self-care. And listen, this is something that, you know, I deal with all the time, right? Because we you know, some of us have come of age really in a culture that said, you know, faster, stronger, harder, better, right? That, you know, no pain, no gain, you have to get out, you have to do more. And that if you're not, you know, suffering through and pushing through, then there is no value. And it's a constant reminder. I mean, as parents, we have to think about this all the time. As you know, people who are entrepreneurs, as leaders, is that we don't have our best to offer if we're not offering ourselves our best. And you're right. Everyone wants to skip over this and say, "Oh yeah, I read books and I take time and I have fun and I, you know, will exercise." But if it's not a valuable, mindful practice, it's not at the level it needs to be for each of us to be at our best in the world.
Yeah, and I'll just add one more thing from my personal experience, is that the intention behind it is also so important.
Yes.
And I've had phases of my life where I may have been doing the practice, but I'm doing it out of a sense of fear and obligation rather than out of that true sense of love, compassion, and care for myself. And it also doesn't work when you come at it from that angle.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, this is kind of the little bit of secret, and you know, step 3 here, alignment of purpose, is it's really about loving our gift. It's really
Right.
about loving what it is that we have to offer in the world. It's really about loving ourselves enough that that becomes primary, and that everything else then is an outgrowth of loving and caring for who we are. Because again, when you think about it, it's pretty simple. If you can't do that, how can you possibly give it to other people? How can you give to others something that you are unable to give to yourself? And that's the first point of disconnection that people experience. And from there, you know, we run into a lot of other challenges.
Yeah. So before we wrap this up, if there was just, you know, self-care is such a hot topic right now, and for good reason. But if there's just one simple practice that our listeners could integrate into their everyday life to start to connect to this concept of alignment of purpose, what would you suggest to them?
I think you already tipped the hat to where we need to go, which is to set the intention and to be very mindful that we're worth it, that we deserve it, that we deserve to be and feel good in our bodies, to be healthy, that we deserve to have relationships that are true and meaningful and that nourish us. And one for me that I focus on a lot is just have fun, right? To be in joy. And again, one of the things I love about what we're creating here is how much fun we have even when we're doing things that are quote unquote work. To know that learning is a constant in life, and it's not something we get punished for until we're 18 or 22 or 26 through school, but that that mental development and stimulation is essential to who we are as human beings. And that, ultimately we all need some quiet moments of reflection. However that occurs in your life is, up to each person. It's just that having some time that says, for me to be silent and just be with myself and to reflect that I am worthy and I deserve to be able to shine in my gift. And if you just set the intention for that, as you said, things change immediately. And that's one of the things that we're really about here at the Human Being Store is that this isn't hard, difficult, takes forever. You can start to experience real results immediately as you start to, engage with these practices.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. I think this conversation is so important, and I hope that it will support a lot of our listeners out there. Let's get into our special guest interview.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be very interesting today.
Thanks.
Welcome back to the part of the episode where we talk to individuals who have received their gift and their experiences and sharing it with the world. And today we have someone very special with us, and we're going to tell you the many, many ways he's special. But Danny Schneer is with us. Hi, Danny. How are you?
Good. How are you?
It's great to have you here. And before I let you go ahead and introduce yourself, I think we should also say in full disclosure that maybe you should tell everyone just how you got to the Human Being Store and the special relationship you have with us.
Sure. Well, it's very special indeed. Maria is my fiance and my ultimate life partner. So we, I've been around for you guys meeting and the genesis of this work and seeing it in development. And it's been really special to watch this whole process grow and be a part of it as both, sort of a bystander and then also getting to dip my toes in and really experience the beauty of what you guys have to offer. And so I think it was pretty early on when Maria gave me my gift and, it was quite a shock. You had been talking about this work and I didn't really know how the visualization was going to go. I think I'm also kind of a skeptic sometimes. So I was like, this seems a little hokey, but like, it really wasn't. It was so natural. And also sometimes I think I, have a hard time visualizing things, which is strange because I am a visual person sometimes. But it was really clear, the visualization of the exercise and then just sort of the shock and the feeling of getting my gift. And then, this journey now that I'm on to dig in deeper and figure it out, which I definitely don't have it figured out, but I'm, really proud to not only be a part of this in that way, but also be a partner for Maria and her journey in developing this work with you, Kathleen. It's a really kind of special experience that, when we first met, I didn't know I was signing up for, but I'm really glad I did. So,
well, that's good. I think you're technically the first HBS in-law. So, we love having you as a part of that on the team. And, just so our listeners know that part of the training that people go through in the practicum is they practice, giving the gift. And the first place we have them do it is, we call it with their intimates, their, close friends and family, because it gives them a place to practice. We don't have them engage in the guidance for obvious reasons. And you did get to share that experience with Maria. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about what that was like to, be there and to receive your gift, and, how that has changed and impacted not only, I guess, your work or maybe even your relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely impacted all of it. And, I think at first it was a little scary, and uncertain. Like I mean, the visualization is very vivid, like what you guys do is intangible as it might sound initially is very real, and so coming to that place is kind of scary to approach if you're, like, it's just like with any self work, it takes that, there's a hurdle to get over where you're like, oh, do I really want to dig into this? And then you do, and it becomes, your world opens up. And so, the experience of, working through that with Maria, I mean, like my gift was like this really intangible thing. Like it was a golden fire nugget, it was like not fixed in form. I don't even know exactly fully how to explain it other than it was everything and nothing at the same time. It was the embodiment of light and matter and also infinity, but like within this ever changing form right in front of my eyes in the palm of my hand. It's like, how do you describe that? And what does that mean for you? And then also, that can be really scary. Also looking at yourself, like, what does that mean I am? And this whole idea that I've had my entire life of like, I'm a musician. It's what I do, but like, what does that actually mean? That's, I think you guys have talked about it as, that's a label, that's the way that I can label myself to connect with other people, but it's also a way of avoiding who I really am. In terms of not fully understanding it. So getting the gift was step one, which was definitely, a little, like I said, a little scary, but then this work has just really opened me up, opened my heart up to really understand, like, when I am in alignment and when I'm not in alignment. And I'm definitely not always in alignment, but, I think getting to watch, getting to be a part of the store and the experience, you learn how to get back into alignment, even if it's sometimes difficult to practice. It's a daily practice.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's totally a practice. And so what have you experienced? What changes have taken place with you since you got your gift?
I think a broader understanding. I think a broader understanding of myself and my strengths and what I have to offer, and a deeper understanding of it. I think I've always known, but perhaps maybe have avoided it because it seemed sensitive, if that makes sense. Like, and I think I'd spent a lot of time trying not to be sensitive just for, various societal reasons. And, but as a musician, you kind of have to be in touch with your feelings, and that's kind of a confusing place to be. So I think it's really helped me to get in touch with that and figure out how to express that in a really positive, progressive way. And like, I mean, literally, I think I wrote down like a mission statement that I saved to my phone background for a long time that was just sort of what my purpose was after understanding it from getting the gift, of like this idea that, my gift is this expression that, I spent some time trying to avoid a lot of the time, the expression of how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking, and that the world actually wants to hear that, outside of my need, what can sometimes feel like a selfish need to just get it out. But it's more of like, no, this is what the world needs to hear. I have something to say. And, my way of saying it is through creative expression, artistic expression. And in doing so, my, I see myself, and this ties back to what my gift is, as a guiding light for the world, for as a way to guide people through things that I've been through that are scary, that I don't that I want to help other people get through because I've been through it. So I think this work has helped me realize that. And again, it really is a daily struggle. Like there's days that I'm off, but I know the days that I'm on, I'm really on, and I also know walking into a situation that I'm uncomfortable with or I haven't been in before, if I can connect with my golden fire nugget, then, or my gift, then, I'm going to do fine, and I don't have to worry about it. And it shows. It really shows.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. So, Maria, have you noticed any changes or anything that's come from you? I know I'm putting you both on the spot, but I think it's a pretty powerful one.
Yeah. I mean, there have been so many changes in our relationship. I remember him really working through that mission statement and trying to distill the significance of the gift, and for the boundaries of our relationship. It was important for me to, provide him some tools, but also to give him the space to work through this on his own. And I think also for his own journey, that was really important to him. And I really credit the state of our relationship today to the work that we each have done independently and what it's brought to our relationship. And I've gifted you before we got engaged, and so that's definitely
been. I wanted to marry you.
You got a bonus gift in there, huh?
Yeah. So, I think there's been huge shifts in him and in our relationship, and it gives us a common framework as a couple and a way to communicate with one another and see each other's value and support one another.
Yeah. Which is, really at the essence of this work, whether, we're doing it first and foremost for ourselves and for the people around us. And while we focus a lot on, what we put out into the world, we do that, coming from this place of the connections and intimacy that we're building in our lives. And I think you two are a great example of, people who have really taken this to heart and are using it to better lives of others and with each other. So, Danny, I know you've got a lot of amazing music that the world is really ready to hear from you. And I'm honored that the Human Being Store could be a small part of your journey, because I know there are a lot of people who are going to enjoy and benefit from hearing the music that you make.
Well, thank you. And big part of the journey, not a small part.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, we're glad that you were here today. Thank you both for sharing a bit about your own personal side of the story as well as the professional side, because, again, at some point, it is all an expression of our gifts. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. And yeah, I mean, I really do just want to underscore that it has helped our relationship so much, this work, in ways that I'd never expected, because you're thinking about it in terms of personal and professional development in a way, right? And, or I was at least. And it's so much more than that. It's a life shift that just, it radiates outward in, every direction. It's not linear in any way. In terms of its trajectory. And it really radiates outward, again, like that light that I saw as my gift. And I think it's really beautiful. So thank you for having me.
No, my pleasure. Thanks again.
Thank you. Well, obviously, that interview was very near and dear to my heart. And I just, thank you again, Kathleen, and thank you, Human Being Store. This work really has shifted our relationship and the way that we communicate with one another. It's just been really powerful for us.
And it's been beautiful to watch the work that each one of you has done based on your gift, and you did it for yourselves first. And what I loved about what Danny had to say, and what I've obviously been very blessed to be able to witness, is how it continues to grow when you come together and you practice this together. And I know in this episode we've been talking about alignment of purpose, and being around you, I've seen some of these things shift with you, right? Just how you're eating differently, how you're, exercising and being physical together, the books you're reading and talking about and sharing. I mean, it really is a natural outgrowth once you get connected, and all of these things just start happening.
Yeah, and I would say practicing this in my relationship has really supported alignment of purpose. I mean, I think just being part of Human Being Store, of course, would support that. But you're right. Danny and I do so many daily practices together. We read books together and talk about them. We drink our lemon water together in the morning every day. We walk our dog and run with our dog. So it's really powerful to have a partner who not only supports me in this work, but who, like you said, wants to do this work for himself as well.
Right. And whether you're in, a personal relationship, whether you're in an office relationship or organization, it is the gift that keeps on giving, right? I mean, it's so beautiful to see those that you care about and with whom you're spending your days, step up and really be a part of something that feels good. So it feels better for you. It feels better for them. You both are feeling better together. I mean, win, 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 win. And that's alignment of purpose, right? Is walking our talk, and the fact that it does have such a tremendous benefit throughout your entire life.
Yeah, and that's what starts to shift the world, which is what we're here to do.
Right. And, you and Danny are a great example of all of the wonderful people that you're having an impact on. And I'm sure will continue to do so too.
Thank you. Thank you again for joining us for this episode at Human Being Store. This has been Human Being 101. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you.